Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Madeline DuBosque, and as David said, I will be talking about community-centered edits to Arctic GIS software, specifically Arctic IRMA. When a disaster hits a rural region in the Arctic, the first responders on the scene are typically the affected communities. It can take days for additional help to reach a rural Arctic community during an emergency response, meaning that many response decisions are being made from outside the affected community, such as in Anchorage or Washington, D.C. For these reasons, it is critical that the information available to decision makers is an accurate representation of the community and its needs. As part of the Safe Arctic project, an ADAC-ARCTIC project, we work to improve a tool called Arctic IRMA with the goal of having the best data in Arctic IRMA as possible. And our pilot location is Nome, Alaska. IRMA, which is the Environmental Response Management Application, is an environmental response GIS software, with Arctic IRMA being the Arctic-specific version. Preliminary research was performed to determine what data sets were publicly available and could be useful to have in Arctic IRMA, but weren't in there yet. GIS analyst Zach Winter-Stasak and I worked together to add data sets to Arctic IRMA, such as the erosion forecast data you see in the image on the left, which is a screenshot taken directly from IRMA. Next, we held two workshops, one in Nome at the end of 2024 and one in Anchorage at the beginning of 2025. We introduced participants to IRMA and taught them how to use it both at the workshops and in a pre-workshop education session. Then, through open discussions, participants shared the kinds of data sets they thought would be useful to have added into Arctic IRMA. And in the months following the workshops, as many data sets as possible were added. At the end of the Nome workshop, we asked participants what was significant to the workshop for them. You can see over on the right two of the responses to this question, and these responses reflected a common theme amongst participants. It was significant for the community to verbalize its own needs and tell its own stories. While Arctic IRMA aids in response efforts, especially for people outside the community, it can also be used to support planning within the community itself. In fact, community planning became one of the key considerations for data that participants wanted to see in Arctic IRMA. For example, participants wanted to see information about solid waste sites in and around Nome, and this data set was later added to Arctic IRMA. And you can see a screenshot of the data in Arctic IRMA over on the right. In total, 27 bookmarks, which are groupings of data, were added to Arctic IRMA throughout the Safe Arctic project. Having data that accurately reflects an area is a crucial way to support response efforts and decision-making that is happening outside the affected area. Community-centered edits make sure the voices of a community are being heard and that its needs will be met when a disaster arises. Thank you.